can make a difference with the little things I do. And I am dedicated to make a better place for me and you.
My dream is to help everyone, everywhere, create wow places out of ordinary workplaces. Because there are far too many workplaces right now and far too few wow places. And I want to just give you my definition of each. A workplace is a place where employees have to go because they make a paycheck. In a workplace, you find employees who are there because they're simply grateful to have a job, any job. But in a wow place is where people love to go. People, not just nameless, faceless employees, but people love to go because they know they make a difference. Because it doesn't matter how many wow products and services you have, if they are not wowed, if they are not delivered in wow ways by wow people with wow attitudes, they may as well not exist.
Bruce and I will be married 25 years in December. Thank you. So we are like night and day. Talk about opposites attract. As boisterous and outgoing and loud as I am, that's how quiet and shy and reserved Bruce is. Now Bruce is a huge sports fan. Me, not so much. But if you give me a team to root for, well, I'm right there for you, baby. Now, Bruce is from upstate New York. So his favorite football team, we got some New Yorkers up here. His favorite football team is the Giants. All right, Bruce, you should be happy now. So now I already told you, he's a big sports fan. I'm not. But the Giants were on, so I'm rooting for the Giants because it's my husband's team. So, we're sitting on the couch. The Giants make a huge play. I mean humongous. I am jumping off the couch. Wow! Yeah! Go Giants! Meanwhile, I look over at Bruce and he's like this. I'm like, Bruce, aren't you happy? I mean, that was a great play. Doesn't that make you happy? Yes, I'm very happy. Don't strain anything. But you would never know who the real sports fan was just from looking at the toes. But I have to tell you, if you keep at it long enough, you can rub off on other people. After about 15 years of marriage, again, we're watching the Giants game. I'm sitting at the dinette. He's sitting on the love seat. Again, the Giants make a humongous play. I'm all excited, and out of the corner of my eye, I see Bruce do this. Apparently, we can change other people's behavior if you have enough time.
You all know who this man is, right? Spock from Star Trek, half human, half Vulcan. Now the Vulcans have had all emotions trained out of them. They can't feel human emotion. And then if you ever watch Star Trek The Next Generation, then you know that this is Data. Now Data is actually an android, and he looks human. Well, except for these two gentlemen were very good at what they did. But they were incapable of feeling human emotions. And what we need to remember is that we have to focus just as much on the human duties we have to each other as we do on the job duties. I was in a place of business one time, very recently. I was waiting for some people for a meeting, and I was in the reception area where they had a reception desk. So I sat in some chairs to wait for the employees I was meeting. While I sat there, the receptionist got up from the desk and went into a back room to do an errand. While she was gone, a visitor came in, a man, and he stood at the desk waiting for someone to wait on him. But before the receptionist returned, a different employee came from the back room and went behind the desk. Now, the visitor, not knowing that this wasn't the receptionist, straightened up his papers and got all ready to talk to her, thinking it was the one who was going to help him. When he was waiting for her to look up and take care of him. She never did. She rifled through a Rolodex and looked through some papers and opened some drawers. And as 30 seconds went to 60, went to 90, you could see the man start to visibly droop as he realized that not only was this woman not going to wait on him, she wasn't even going to acknowledge him. You could see the obvious consternation in his mind, too. You know, should I interrupt her? I don't want to be rude, but is she going to wait on me? How long should I wait? I was thinking the same thing. Well, after about 2 minutes, she left the desk, not once acknowledging any of us in the chairs in the reception area or the man standing right in front of her face. Now, I don't know what was going on in her mind. Maybe she was too distracted by the task at hand, or maybe she thought that since this isn't my job to wait on him, I don't even have to say hello to him. But what she's forgetting is that even though we may not have a job duty for the person in front of us, we always have a human duty to everyone that's in front of us. And being human also helps us be kind, which means that we get to know the people, get to know them better. So one more story about Joe is this. He had to tell a family that you're so far behind in your payments that you actually have to pay $100 a month just to catch up. And they said, $100 a month? We can't afford $100 a month. He said, oh no? All right, well, how about this? What if you pay $25 a week? Will that work? And they said, $25 a week? Yeah, we can do that. Great, thank you. Yeah, $25 a week times 4 is $100, and in a 5-week month, that's actually $125. They could do that. But as stupid as that sounds on the surface, his kindness allowed him to know what they were really saying underneath. See, Joe knew his customers, and he knew them well. They didn't have bank accounts. So there was no way that they could have put $25 a week aside and saved it until they had $100 and then paid that bill. But they could pay $25 a week in cash every week towards it. Being kind allowed him to take what was on the surface, and instead of pulling a Bill Engvall from the Blue Collar Comedy Tour, you know, here's your sign, he was able to look below the surface to what they were really saying and help them find a real solution to their problem. All right, now that we have our leaders, the leader is now going to choose a spokesperson. Thought you got out of it, didn't you? So the leader chooses a spokesperson. Okay, we have somebody right here. All right, I'm going to come over there. Share a story at the table? Okay.
The mobile cart engineers actually within 2 weekends were able to assemble all 89 carts. Wow.
Thank you very much. Great story. We have to be reminded every single day that we make a difference, because if we wait too long between acts of wow and acts of recognition, what happens? We forget about it. We don't do it. We think, okay, maybe someone else is going to do it. Never assume that it's going to be done by someone else, such as their manager or their supervisor, because they may not even know about it. They may not know what's happening. So you can do it right then and there. It shows that somebody noticed, somebody cared, and they cared enough to say something about it right then. So that means we just need to be a little more observant, right? We can't reward what we don't notice. You know what? I'm just one person. How can I make a difference? How can I help create a WOW organization, especially in challenging times when we're all being asked to do a lot more with a lot less? How can I make a difference? Creating a WOW is a matter of will. Will I or won't I? Will I or won't I? Do what's absolutely necessary right now for this person to create a WOW for them. Will I take the time to give them a WOW card? Will I take the time to say something? Will I take the time to write that thank you note? Will I or won't I? See, you're all here because you can't do your jobs. You wouldn't have been hired if you couldn't. But the WOW is in the will I go over and above can do focuses on the job duties, while will do focuses on the human duties, and will I or won't I do them? Come on, who said that? Right here. Okay, the money. Here we go. All right. Why do I have a $5 bill clipped to my blouse? The whole reason for this $5 bill is that you have to take risks. Now, you all saw that $5 bill, right? Nobody asked me about it, but this lady, where I took the risk to ask me about it, so the $5 is yours because I want to show you that you never know when a risk that you take is going to pay off. So there you go. We're too close to our excuses sometimes. They sound reasonable. They sound good. But sometimes we can't see it. And other people who are removed from the situation can. So there was a young man, when I moved to Florida, I needed to hire a office manager and receptionist. And we put an ad in the paper. We got about 52 replies to one ad in one small newspaper. So we set up about a dozen interviews, and then we said, that's it, we're done. Well, on the last day, I got a call from a young man who said, is the position filled? And I said, well, it's not filled, but we've already got all the interviews we need. Thank you very much. It's too late. And he said, oh, please, give me a chance. I promise you, you won't be sorry. I mean, I'm a really hard worker. I'm a really good person. I'm going to really blow you away. You've got to give me a chance. Please give me a chance and just give me an interview. I promise you won't be disappointed. Wow. I mean, he was so persistent and so convincing. I said, all right, fine. I said, I have to go out of town tomorrow, though. So today is the last day. But I have an opening at 2 o'clock. If you would like to come in at 2 o'clock, I'll give you an interview. And I'm glad you're sitting down, because here's what he said. He said, but it's raining outside. But it's raining. Did I just hear that right? It's raining? I said, so does that mean if I hire you and it rains someday, you're not coming to work? Oh, no. Interview over. Now, this young man had a lot on the ball, but he could not even see how he sabotaged himself by saying that one thing. And here's what happened in San Diego. Because they focused on creating a wow place in one area, the video, all of the TSA agents also were completely different than anywhere else I've ever been. Smiling, laughing, joking with the passengers, and actually not treating them like complete and total fools when they didn't know what to do because they don't travel all the time. They were joking with them. So when you focus on being a wow place in one area, it spreads to other areas as well. The SHRM exhibit booth area is a circus. It is unbelievable. You walk in there, I mean, there are wheels, they're playing games, there's noise, there's fun, there's everything here. And it is very hard to get anybody's attention because there's so much going on. But what they do to allow the vendors to be able to connect with people is they let them offer prizes, raffle prizes. Well, I was sitting at lunch and one woman came up to us and said, you wouldn't believe what just happened to me. And we said, what? She said, I went up to this booth to get my card scanned, and the man at the booth from the company said to me, are you actually interested in what we have to offer, or are you just here for the prize? Let me take the knife out of my heart right now. We couldn't believe it. See, what had happened was apparently this man had never been to a SHRM exhibit before and didn't know it was a circus. So when he came there and it wasn't as expected, he lost sight of his own goals. What's the goal? To get there. They paid a lot of money to be at this exhibit area. And he lost sight of his own goals and insulted the very people that he wanted to connect with later on. She said, you know, honestly, I might be interested in his services later on, but I will not go with that company because he's just going to remind me of the horrible experience I had at the exhibit hall. So by forgetting that his goal was to connect with people and being able to flex and flow when things changed and weren't as expected, he shut down every opportunity he had and that his company paid for to connect. Now, Monster.com, on the other hand, had a great booth. They had an area where they were playing a trivia game. And they had 25 chairs in front of the booth where you could sit and play the game and try to win a monster doll that they were offering. A lot of monster dolls. And then they had about space for about 25 more people to stand outside of the chairs. Now, they couldn't play the game, but they could, every once in a while, the people on stage would hold up a monster doll and throw it into the crowd. And everyone in the crowd was, whoa, throw it here, throw it here, throw it here, you know, because they wanted to win this doll for their children and their grandchildren. It was unbelievable. It was pretty funny and actually a little frightening to see 50 grown men and women screaming and going berserk over these monster dolls. But I have to tell you, my granddaughter loves her monster. But they knew what they were there for, and they remembered. Do you think that people are going to have great memories now, and when Monster tries to call those companies later on, they're going to want to talk to Monster.com? Absolutely. So you know what? This man, when he discovered what it was, did he really think he was going to close business at a circus? No. It was unexpected, and he could not adapt enough to take advantage of the opportunities that were there for him to connect person to person and then try to close the business later. So if you can't change the situation, change your expectations. You've promised someone that you'll call them back, but you need more information in order to do that, or you can't give them what they need. But you haven't gotten the information from the person you need it from yet, right? So you're saying, well, I'm not going to call them because I don't have anything to tell them. I don't have any information. But you know that you haven't forgotten about them, but do they know? No, they can't. All they know is that you didn't call them back. So I say, in this example, call them back anyway and say, I have absolutely nothing to tell you, unfortunately, but I just didn't want you to think I forgot about you. Wow. The problem is so many people don't even make the call back that if you don't call and you haven't forgotten them, they think you're like everyone else. So instead of knowing that you're still on the job, they assume the worst. Don't just be different, show it, scream it, get those testimonials. Get them on videotape. You can get them and put them on your website. You can put them in your employee newsletters to share it with the rest of the employees. You can also videotape employees talking about what a wonderful place this is to work and post it on your employment page. When you put things like that on your employment page, what's happening? People who have values just like yours connect with you, right? And they want to come and work here. You can scream it from every single thing that you do. I don't know if you've ever seen the movies, The Freedom Writers and the Ron Clark story. But they're about teachers who went into inner city schools and wanted to change things and help those students be able to graduate and learn. They didn't respect anyone in authority just because they were in authority. In fact, especially a teacher, they actively disrespected the teacher in an effort to get the teacher to leave and just leave them alone and let them do what they wanted to do. But these teachers came in to change things, and despite the fact that they were actively disrespected by these students, they still showed superb control over their emotions and gave respect to the students first and earned their respect so they could help change their lives. So if we command respect rather than demanding it, we're a lot more effective than we would be if we just came in and said, I deserve respect because I'm me. Everybody has mission statements. You have your organizational mission, but do you have departmental mission statements? Are they posted? Are they posted in the employee areas as well as in the patient areas? I had to go to a hospital for an x-ray one time, and as soon as I walked into the hospital, this was a hospital in Orlando, bam, right on the wall as I walked in was the x-ray department mission. I can't tell you what a difference that made to me as a patient there, knowing that they cared enough about their mission not only to have one, but then to post it so I could see how much they cared about me.
It lights the way for those in the distance. It's what your courage means to
Don't be afraid to shine and create a wow place. Thank you very much. Thank you. What is my wow gonna be? It's all about you, not all about me. What is my wow gonna be? It's all about you, not all about me. What is my wow gonna be? It's all about you, not all about me. What is my wow gonna be? It's all about you, not all about me. Thank you.
Can make a difference with the little things I do, and I am dedicated to make a better place for me and you. Now I can offer kindness, always show respect for you. When we act with compassion, we find a way to share our